see, this is syntax analyzer. This. The role of syntax analyzer is to receive tokens. Actually, if you know, you already know that lexical analyzer generates a stream of tokens. Okay. The token generated by the lexical analyzer is get accepted by the syntax analyzer. It is also called parser. Okay. So, and here we do syntax analysis to develop the understanding what a particular stream of token want to convey. Okay. So this part is very important. As you know, syntax of any language is defined by the various language construct given in the grammar of that language. Okay. And if you see the grammar, you have gone through in theory of computation. A grammar consists of 4 tuples, set of non-terminals, set of terminal, production, and start symbol. Okay. If you have a language, you must have the grammar. Okay. Without grammar, you can't understand the language. Okay. So this n is the set of non-terminal. The non-terminal in the grammar says about the various language construct. Okay. And terminals are the atomic symbol of the language. You may say tokens. And we have set of production to say about the description of the language constructs. Means if a non-terminal n can alpha, beta, gamma, so this non-terminal is showing construct that can be formed through these 3 sub-constructs, alpha, beta, gamma. Okay. This is called a production. Okay. This alpha, beta, gamma may be either terminal or non-terminal. Okay. The terminals and non-terminals are said to be grammar symbol. Okay. The 4th component is S. That is, in some cases you will get this sigma. Okay. But it is a star symbol. The star symbol will say that if we start from this symbol and using the productions repeatedly, we are able to generate any string consisting of sequence of tokens. Then we can say that that string belongs to the language. Okay. So Means any string of the language must be generated from the star symbol using various productions, and it is called, okay. Now come to the you must have gone through about the various type of grammars, like unrestricted grammar. It is also called destructive grammar. And if you have destructive grammar property, if you have a production alpha to beta, then mod alpha and mod beta. Mod alpha must be less than or equal to mod beta, where alpha and beta are the string of terminals and non-terminals, means grammar symbols. But in the case of unrestricted, your grammar become unrestricted if you have violation of this property. Otherwise, it is this alpha, length of alpha must be less than the length of less than or equal to length of beta. Otherwise, actually we have to expand the language. Other it will just you may say reduce the language on null. But we are concerned about the constructive grammar, that is called restricted grammar. In restricted grammar, we have various type of grammar, like context sensitive grammar, context free grammar, regular grammar. Context sensitive grammar, again, if we have alpha to beta production, then it is reverse. The grammar that is not destructive is constructive. It means mod alpha must be less than or equal to mod beta. Okay, where alpha and beta are the string of terminals and non-terminals. You have gone through about this. It is just to recap. Then context-free grammar. In context-free grammar, we have restriction on the alpha. Okay. This alpha is a non-terminal. Okay. Means if we have production alpha to beta, in that case, this alpha is a non-terminal, any non-terminal. Here beta may be a string of terminal and non-terminal, and it must be single non-terminal. Okay. If we have this type of production in the grammar, then that is called context-free grammar. Actually, if you see, the context-free grammar is the subset of context-sensitive grammar. Because in context-sensitive grammar, we don't have any restriction with this alpha. Here, alpha is the string of terminal and non-terminal, and it may be more than one symbol. Okay. So it is in that case it is context sensitive, and here this alpha is restricted to be a non-terminal. So in the case of context free. Next is the regular grammar. Now we put restriction on the right side of the production, on beta. if here in right side you may have in the case of regular grammar, you may have at most one non-terminal, okay. So we have two type of uh, regular grammar. One, if we may have non-terminal A to AB or A to BA. Okay. If the not, I have told you there must be at most one non-terminal to the right of the production. So if terminal is to the left of means non-terminal is to the right of the terminal symbols, then that is called right linear grammar. Is not if non-terminal is to the left of the terminal symbols, then it is called left linear grammar. Okay. Now some notational convention. Just see. For terminal symbol, we use English alphabet in lowercase, like A, B, C. But if you are using a string, then it must be in uppercase. A string means if you are using a alphabet, symbols of the language, English language, to represent a terminal symbol, in that case, it must be lowercase. But if you are using a string for terminal symbol, then it must be in uppercase. Like if, then for languages, these are the reserved words, and these are the terminal symbol. Okay. Non-terminal is just reverse. For single alphabet, non-terminal, we use capital letter for non-terminal, A, B, C, like this. But if we write the non-terminal in form of strings, actually, if you have to improve the readability, then we have to write in form of a string. So in that case, we write the non-terminals with the string of lowercase letter, like expression, term, statement. These are the non-terminals. And in general, if you have to show a grammar symbol, means then X, Y, Z, means the capital letter from the tail of the alphabet. Okay. You may set U, V, W, T. These are the grammar symbol. It may be considered as terminal or non-terminal. Grammar symbol means a grammar symbol consists of two type of symbols. One is terminal symbols, another is non-terminal symbol. Okay. Similarly, the string of the language is shown by the symbols of English language from the tail of the list in lowercase, means If we write W, it is a string of a language consisting of several tokens. Okay. Tokens are nothing but these terminal symbols. Okay. And if you have a string of terminal and non-terminal, just see, for symbol we use X, Y, Z, means this. For symbol, terminal and non-terminal symbols, but for string of terminal and non-terminal, we use alpha, beta, gamma, these Roman characters. Okay. So in entire discussion of this course, we will use this very convention to write the grammar. Where we have to handle the grammar, we will use this convention. And it is being used. It is, you may say, it is universal. Now derivation. Suppose if you have alpha A beta 2 alpha gamma beta, we have intermediate form of the derivation. Here, see what it means. It is called a sentential form. A particular string of terminals, the tokens, is called string of the language. To generate that string using the various productions and we go through several sentential form of that string. So here you can see it is are two consecutive sentential form. We have this sentential form. You can get this sentential form if A to gamma is a production in your grammar. What we have done? We have replaced left side A by its right side gamma. Now see, if this A is leftmost non-terminal in this sentential form, if this A is leftmost non-terminal in this sentential form, and we are getting this by replacing its right side of the production, then it is called leftmost derivation. But if it is rightmost non-terminal, means what it means, leftmost non-terminal and rightmost non-terminal. If first consider the leftmost non-terminal. If A is leftmost non-terminal, it means alpha is the string of only terminal symbols. Beta may be the string of terminal and non-terminal, but alpha must be the string of terminal symbols. And in that case, we are selecting A for replacement by its right side, that is gamma. In that case, that is called leftmost derivation. And we write LM. Second case, if alpha is the string of terminal and non-terminal, and beta is the string of only terminal symbols. In that case, in this very string alpha A beta, A will be the rightmost non-terminal symbol. And if we are generating the next sentential form by replacing A by its right side, then that is called rightmost derivation. So we have two type of derivation. One is leftmost derivation, another is rightmost derivation. And suppose we have a string of the language W. If we start from start symbol, that is S, and by repeated application of production, we generate several means just see, you just see like this. We have started S. On applying certain production, we have got S dash, then again S dash, double dash, so on, and finally we got the string this. If we are considering leftmost non-terminal for replacement, then we write here LM. Otherwise, if you are considering rightmost non-terminal for replacement, then we write here RM. Means if we are considering leftmost non-terminal, in each cases, to get the next sentential form, S double dash is the next sentential form of S dash. Okay. So that is called leftmost derivation. If we are considering rightmost non-terminal to get the next sentential form, then that is called rightmost derivation. Okay. So we can write this entire derivation like this. S2 this means for a particular grammar, means for repeated application of production, we are able to generate the string W from start state. Then we may say that S W is the string of the language generated by the grammar. Okay. Now come to the derivation. You just consider this grammar. In this grammar, we have non-terminal, terminal, production P and start symbol. Okay. We have single non-terminal E and terminal symbol plus asterisk, opening bracket, closing bracket, minus and ID. This minus is unary minus. Then we have production P and E as the start symbol. Production P has these 5 rewrite rules. E to E plus E, E to E into E, bracket. Now we have a string, this ID string of means we have now see this string. This string is ID plus ID into ID. In this string, you may see we have token ID plus ID asterisk ID. Total 5 tokens. Okay. Now, how we can generate this string using this grammar? You just see, we start from start symbol. E is the start symbol. We have single symbol. You have to consider this as you can consider E2, E plus E. Now we consider leftmost here. You can write LM, this E2 ID. Which production we have used here? This production. this E is replaced by its right side of the production. Okay. Plus E. Then next ID plus this E to E asterisk E means we have replaced by its right side this. Okay. Now next leftmost terminal is this E. So consider ID plus ID asterisk E. Next, again leftmost non-terminal is this ID plus ID into ID. So you have generated the string using this grammar. Now see the rightmost derivation. We will start from E to E asterisk E. Now we consider the rightmost non-terminal, this E to E asterisk ID. Now E2, this E is E plus E. It is rightmost asterisk ID. Then again rightmost E plus ID asterisk ID. Again rightmost ID plus ID asterisk ID. So if you do either leftmost derivation or rightmost derivation, you are able to generate the desired string of the language. Okay. Now come to the ambiguity. Okay, just see, we will discuss ambiguity. Again consider this grammar. E2 E plus E, E into E, simple ID. Before discussing this, you just see what we get from derivation. Okay, we will again discuss. This grammar is sufficient. E2 E plus E, E asterisk E and ID. This grammar is sufficient to generate this string ID plus ID into ID. Okay. You have seen these two derivations, E2 E plus E. Okay. LM ID plus E LM ID plus E into E LM ID plus ID into E LM ID plus ID into ID. For rightmost derivation, you have seen E to E asterisk E RM E asterisk ID RM E plus E asterisk ID RM E plus ID asterisk ID RM rightmost derivation ID plus ID into ID, which is equal to W, which is equal to W. Now see the syntactic structure. Suppose this identifier is A, B, and C. The value of A is 2, B is 3, and C is 4. So we have started from E. E plus E, this E is ID A. Here what we have done, E asterisk E, this ID B and this ID C. Similarly, in this case, E to E asterisk E and this to ID, here this E plus E, this is ID, this is ID. This is A, this is B, this is C. If you see the derivation, both the derivations, okay, in both the derivation, you are getting two different syntactic structures. Value of A is 2, just see, means it means two different meaning. Just see, A is 2, B is 3, C is 4. So here 3, this value at this node is 3 into 4, 12. Here 2, so here value is 14. Means if you have this derivation, leftmost derivation, this one, it will give you value understanding of 14. But if you use this, so it will be 2, 3, it will become 5, it is 4, so 4, it will become 20. So in arithmetic, you don't have any mechanism to have two value for same expression. It means any one of the syntactic structure produced may be wrong. Means syntactic structure means through which you develop the understanding. And if you have two or more than two syntactic structure, then you are not able to develop the understanding for same sequence of token. if you have more than two syntactic structure. So here you may say that this is for leftmost derivation and this is for rightmost derivation. If we consider both as leftmost derivation and see another case. Your grammar is E2 E plus E asterisk E and ID. We will consider same string A plus B into C, where it will be lesson and liar will generate ID plus ID into ID. Now we will consider leftmost derivation only. You just consider E2 E plus E, then ID plus E, then ID plus E into E plus ID plus ID into E, ID plus ID into ID. Leftmost derivation. Now see here, E2 E asterisk E. Again consider leftmost non-trivial. This you can write E asterisk E ID plus E asterisk E ID plus ID asterisk E ID plus ID into ID. We are able to generate two leftmost derivation. Now see the syntactic structure produced. In this case, E to E plus E. This E to ID and this E to E asterisk E. This is to ID, this is to ID. And in this case, you can relook E asterisk E. Now this E is reduced to ID and this E is get reduced E plus E. This E to ID, this E to ID. Now again if you see, both are leftmost derivation and producing these syntactic structure. Now assign the value. This is A equal to 2, B equal to 3 and C equal to 4. A equal to 2, okay. ID B is equal to 3, ID C equal to 4. So here the value of this sub expression is 3 into 4 is 12 and this expression is 14. Value of this sub expression 7 and here it is 7 it is 14. It is asterisk na? Yes, it is asterisk and it is plus. It is 12 4 दिया 12. वो लकली आ गया देखिए. इसमें कुछ गड़बड़ हो गया. नहीं, we have got the same that is same syntactic structure, so we are getting same value. But see another derivation. We just here, okay, इसको हटाते हैं. Again see another, that is grammar is E to E plus E and E asterisk E ID. So here you will get E plus E ID plus E ID plus E asterisk E. This is first one, ID plus ID asterisk E, and here ID plus ID into ID. Again see here leftmost derivation E plus E asterisk E and E plus E asterisk E. So this ID plus E asterisk E, ID plus ID asterisk E, and finally ID plus ID asterisk ID. Now generate the syntax tree. It is E ID plus E is E asterisk E ID and syntax tree for this E here we have S. See the syntax tree. That syntax tree was wrong. E plus E For this derivation, this syntax tree will be generated, and for this derivation, this syntax tree will be generated. So now you will, both are the leftmost derivation. In both case, here if you see, you are familiar with this derivation here, this E is replaced by E plus E. Okay. Then again same type of replacement. And this is leftmost. So for leftmost derivation, we have produced two different syntactic structure. Okay, and it will give two different meaning. You may say, you can see this is A, this is B, this is C. This is A, this is B, this is C. The value of A is 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. You just see 3 into 4 is 12 plus 2, 14. This is 2. Here 2 plus 3, it is 5. It is 5 and 4. So 20. Means for leftmost derivation, we are able to generate two different meaning for same expression. So we say there is ambiguity. Now on next turn we will discuss how to remove this ambiguity and prepare the grammar for parsing. Okay.